Revolutionary greetings, comrades. In the previous video, we spoke about the train from Johannesburg to Musina, and we said to jump into that train and go and register to vote. But what we want to correct, because there's a perception after we recorded that video, that this train is mainly to transport Zimbabweans to go and cast their votes. That's not so. This is a Shosholoza South African train. So it's Shosholoza Merlin train. Shosholoza operates in the whole of South Africa. They've got routes the whole of South Africa. But at some point, they withdrew the services of the train along that route that is between Johannesburg and Musina. And there have been calls from many people that that train service should be brought back, which this happened. The train is back from Johannesburg to Musina. It is not specifically for Zimbabweans. It is a South African train, Shosholoza. Right. Now, what we then said in the video, because it is cheaper to travel by train, we said you can jump into the train, disembark in Musina, jump into a taxi, because from Musina to the border post is 10 kilometers. Jump into a taxi, cross the border, register to vote in Beitbridge. Right? You register in Beitbridge. When you register, you inform them of your ward or polling station where you are going to cast your vote in 2023. So it is easier to go to Musina by train and then jump into a taxi and cross and register to vote than going to Harare or Masvingo or Bulawayo. This is what we're explaining. So you have to visit the train station for you to get the details, but you can Google a train from Johannesburg to Musina. You can Google and get the details on to book your ticket, or you can visit the train station. You can go to in Park Station in Johannesburg, visit the Park Station, ask for the train. You can do your booking. You can visit in Jimston train station. You can visit Pretoria train station, Hammarskraal train station, Bela Bela, Modimole, Mokopane, Pulukwane, and so on. So you can visit those stations to book yourself a train ticket for you to travel and come back the following day, as explained in the first video. So it is not a train designed for Zimbabweans, but because the train uses that route from Johannesburg to Musina, and it is 10 kilometers to Beitbridge, so we must then utilize the services of this train. Thank you so much to all of you. I've seen that this video is circulating and people are asking many questions because it shows the interest by Zimbabweans in South Africa to register to vote. Because remember, as I wrote on Twitter that day, the reason why they are beating us up, the reason why there is political violence in Zimbabwe, the reason why they are disrupting press conferences is because they know that once we vote in our millions, they will not be able to rig elections. So let's not mislead each other and they say elections are rigged. I was arguing with other Triple C members who are saying, yeah, Comrade Mabeni are now defending ZANU-PF because this issue from the opposition, when they always talk about the rigging without a strategy on how to counter the rigging, and they're thinking that somewhere there a Messiah is going to hear their cries and stop the rigging. It is not going to happen. But what happens is it discourages potential voters because you're a political leader. You spend your time on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on all social media platforms and talk about rigging. When you talk about rigging, so if my vote is going to be rigged, why should I bother about voting? So it is self-defeating for opposition leaders to always talk about rigging. ZANU-PF knows clearly that if millions of Zimbabweans register to vote and cast their votes, they will not be able to rig. This message must be heard clearly by everyone. That they are afraid of millions of Zimbabweans that will register to vote because they will not rig. But unfortunately, unstrategic opposition leaders, they've made it their song every day to say elections in Zimbabwe are rigged, elections in Zimbabwe are rigged, because they think that the European Union, the United Nations, SADC, AU, and everyone else is going to descend on Zimbabwe and stop the rigging. They are not going to do so. But what this message then says, it discourages potential voters. This is why, for instance, in Matabeleland, people are not registered. Matabeleland South is likely to lose a constituency. Bulawayo, Mat North. So because people are not registering, because they are told that elections are rigged. If elections are rigged, there's no point of voting. So the unstrategic leaders of the opposition must stop this narrative of saying elections are rigged. What they must say, the message is simple. Register to vote in your millions. No one is going to rig your election. That's the message you should be driving. This is why we are saying Zimbabweans in South Africa must ride on the train. From Johannesburg, you drop off in Musina, jump into the taxi, go and register in Beitbridge. Because if we vote in our millions, no one is going to rig our elections. If they were rigging elections, they were not going to beat us up. They were not going to set up bogus polling stations in the bush if they were not afraid of the millions that are voting. If they have capacity to rig, they will not be doing such funny things. But because they know that the opposition is unstrategic, they beat up people, then the opposition will cry, no, elections are going to be rigged, and you disarm your potential voters. So let's get this message clear. Let us all register to vote in the 2023 elections. Please like this video, circulate to your contacts, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, Amandla Comrades.